Hello there everybody, welcome to the channel. I'm of course your host, Blitz, and in today's video we are going to be talking about the Tier 7 Tiger 2, the Nameless. Yeah, you probably thought that today's video was kind of a weird title, but I figured, you know what, it's a really good tank, one that not a lot of people really talk about, especially after playing in the VK45.03. This is not really the best vehicle. In fact, it's one of the worst Tier 7s you can definitely get your hands on. It'll be better off with the tech tree version of it, the Tiger 1. So I figured, what's a vehicle that looks very similar to it, but pretty much better in every single aspect? Well, that's the Nameless. Now, the Nameless is actually a very good tank. It's got decent frontal armor. It's got a really strong 105mm gun, dealing 310 standard damage, and the high explosive rolling upwards of 420 per shot. It's got very good gun depression, sitting at 8 degrees, 2200 DPM. The dispersion, though, yeah, it could be better, to be completely honest. Dispersion's not great, but overall, it's a pretty solid tank, and I figured, you know what, let's talk about it in today's video, as these are the tanks that a lot of people are kind of hit or miss on, because these are the legendary, or should I say fantasy tanks, not legendary, but the fantasy tanks are vehicles like the Lupus, the Nameless, the WZ Blaze, vehicles that people don't really care too much about because they're not historical, but at the same time, like the Smasher, they can be extremely overpowered and people want to get their hands on them. Now, for my opinion personally, I don't care if Wargaming brings fantasy tanks in the game. I think it actually brings more variety. Some people have quit the game due to it not having the aesthetics of World War II. Well, first of all, most of the tanks in the game aren't World War II vehicles. In fact, the Tier 1 tanks are from like World War I, pre-World War II mock-ups, and as well, the vehicles at Tier 10, most of them are kind of, Cold War designs. The T-62A, to what I'm aware, is a Cold War design, and the IS-7 was developed after World War II. So, a lot of the vehicles in the game really aren't 100% historically accurate. The E-100, the Mouse, they weren't ever even pretty much used. E-100 wasn't even built, to be honest. So, yeah, people that argue that the game should be historical, I don't really agree with, because it's a game. You're supposed to have fun. It's not supposed to be a history lesson. That's one thing I'll always say about Blitz. And, of course, it's a mobile game with a lot of kids, so I definitely think the game should be fun over the fact of it just, being other stuff. Now, we got a Smasher right over here. Let's get a nice snap right into his vehicle. Geez, seems like the Alpha isn't too great so far, is it? Now, the Smasher will pretty much butter through my armor, to what I'm aware. That's why we're going to face hug him, and look at that perfect bounce right on the turret. That's what I'm talking about, and that's this vehicle's pretty solid armor working right there for you. So, we did get a weird bounce, to be completely honest. I didn't expect that to bounce, but, well, we might just be able to get, well, I guess he finished off my teammate, so we're going to be able to get a shell in anyways on the Smasher. And with my teammate being taken out, ooh, we got to back up here. There you go. Perfect timing, just backing up, and let's finish off the Smasher. One of the deadliest Tier 7 tanks. Taken out pretty dang easily as well. That is the nice thing about this tank. It really does have some great aspects going for it, but as well, it can be very weak, and my teammates are falling apart very quickly at that. So, yeah, gotta be quite careful. Now, it is very good at side scraping. In fact, this is an extremely impressive side scraping tank, as you can see right there. Another nice shot into that KV-3, and we've lowered what is a pretty healthy Tier 7 heavy tank. Now, that AT-7 did lose a big chunk of his HP to that teammate, or the enemy, should I say. Sometimes the enemies can act more of a teammate than my own teams, but we're doing a pretty solid job. Can't complain by any means. Let's try and get a big ol' snap into the lower play, that Annihilator. Let's actually try and hit him, though. There you go. Back in the cover once again. We're doing a pretty solid job. Even though the team is, yeah, they could be doing better. We're going to try and finish off this Annihilator once and for all right here. There you go. Nice shot finishing off the Annihilator. I got to finish off this SU-100Y now as quickly as possible, because obviously my team is not doing anything spectacular. So let's get that shell finishing him off. And now we got to try and finish off the enemy KV-3. Another very deadly Tier 7 heavy with a pretty big alpha on its hand. But nonetheless, we took him out. 4 kills now on our T, which is pretty dang impressive, of course. Let's get a nice shot into the P-43. We're doing a pretty dang impressive game so far. We might actually be able to pick up 7 kills if we pull out enough. So let's try and get a snap into the P-43. There you go, another nice tap. We do have the Sherman Firefly shooting us as well, which of course is a pretty deadly vehicle, but we're going to try and do our best here to get out some big shots on the enemy tank. So there you go. Ooh, very high roll, finishing off the enemy tank there. We got to try and bounce shells now from the Comet, and as well, the Sherman Firefly. This is where things get a little bit tricky. Now, of course, okay, well, yeah, this is the end. Obviously, you can't win every game, and this game, yeah, there's really not much I'm going to be able to do, unless we manage to get some bounces here from the Firefly, which I doubt. Yeah, we really needed that one shell to penetrate, and we could have honestly done 7 kills, but 4,600 damage is very impressive. And as you can see, the tank did its job 100%. It did its job fighting the heavy tanks. We definitely earned a mastery there, and in fact, that could be one of the highest recorded games for the Nameless, for all I know. But of course, let's go into one more game and see if we can keep up that goodness, or if it's going to fall very, very short. I'm kind of bummed out from that game. That could have been a 7-kill, over 5,000 damage game in the Nameless there, but, well, my teammate really fell apart too quickly, which unfortunately happens a lot in Blitz. Teams like that have been arising more and more lately, and, you know, sometimes I say that teams are bad, but I don't know, just the last weeks in Blitz have seemed really, really painful on the teams. I don't know if it's just me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Now, just in general in that game, don't expect, if you ever were thinking of picking up this vehicle and this put the icing on the cake for you, don't expect this vehicle to act like that. It really never does. Of course, you can do, when I was fighting the heavies and I did about 3,500, obviously you can do that. That wasn't very hard to do at all. Of course, the KV3, the Smasher, and the Annihilator weren't the best of players, but yeah, you could easily do that in most scenarios with the Nameless. It's good enough, if you know how to work it, that it will get some pretty good numbers out. But at the same time, don't expect to be pulling out 4,000, 5,000 damage games. This isn't Annihilator. This isn't any overpowered tank. This is a pretty good tank, but I wouldn't rate it anything overpowered. Now let's aim in. There you go. Progetto, getting a nice little snap into him. The great thing about this vehicle is that it's got a decent amount of damage per minute and as well a pretty beefy alpha, which is good. That's a really good combination because it means that you're able to work a lot of scenarios where other tanks would fall apart very, very quickly. Now, we got that KV3 there. You can see that the gun is actually pretty good. Even though its accuracy isn't the best at .389 dispersion, it does seem to hit its shells, which is something that's very important, as you all know. There you go. Second shell now going into that Progetto, finishing off another 300 hit points there. That guy's obviously not liking us. Now we're going to aim in on the side of this KV3. The gun just seems to work. I don't know why. Just every time you fire, it always seems to go where you aim. Again here, let's aim in on this guy. Now, of course, we got that Progetto aiming on the side of my tank, but we're able to turn that turret because that's all he was able to see and get a nice bounce rate on the tank. Now, there are a lot of vehicles over here, of course, and I don't want to get hit by any of them. There's a nice HE on the M41 Bulldog there. That's the really, really nice HE potential on this tank coming true there. I would love to have gotten another shell into that Bulldog, but he did track us, which means that, yeah, we're not getting that shell out anytime soon. So, what do we got left? We got the Tiger one off to the side over there. That Bulldog is going to be taken out very quickly. So, with that, well, we got a Tiger, another Tiger one over here, which we're obviously going to aim right in on. There you go, nice tap into his turret. And, well, yeah, that's pretty much all that's left on the enemy team. Now, in this angle here, the armor is very strong on this tank. In fact, I trust it reliable enough to get a lot of bounces. There's another fire, pretty dang sweet. We've gotten 2 fires in 2 battles now. Let's reload here. Come on, we can get another shell out. Fire! Yes! Oh, yeah, we broke 3,000 damage easy again this game. Like, you can see, this tank really is quite good. It does its job, and I don't find it overpowered. You know, it's really not an overpowered tank, but it's super strong. I remember when this tank first came into the game, and I wanted to get my hands on it so bad, because it looks like a Tiger 2, and it plays like a Tiger 2, but it's at tier 7, which is a tier where you don't have to worry about tier 9s that butter through armor. Tier 8, obviously, penetration is a big factor, but it's not as much of a big factor compared to tier 9. Tier 9, their penetration values are so high, it doesn't even matter if you have armor, they'll just go right through it. Tier 7, it's decent, you know? This can actually get bounces from vehicles like Annihilators. Even though the Smasher's got fantastic pen hull down, this vehicle's got really impressive armor. And with a 3,500 damage game there, both games combined, we did about 4,000 average. Very, very strong tank. And I figured, you know what? It's been a while, and I don't think I've actually ever made a video on this tank, so if it comes in the stores, I actually think it's a very, very solid tank. And I would suggest, you know, 20 bucks or less, not a bad deal for the vehicle. It's good on earning credits, it looks pretty dang nice, it does the trick, it's got a really nice gun, decent mobility, overall, really enjoyable tier 7 to play. Hopefully all of you enjoyed today's video, and other than that, I'll be seeing you in the next one. Bye-bye!